Hallucigenia was a small worm-like creature. It lived during the early to middle Cambrian. The Hallucigenia gives us a good look at how strange life was back then. It was so strange that when it was first discovered, scientists thought it used the spikes on its back to walk. Many paleontologists would give up trying to make sense of such a strange creature. It was not until better preserved relatives of the Hallucigenia were found that we figured out that the original interpretation was upside down. It was also discovered that it had two eyes, a mouth with a ring of stiffening spines around its edge, and teeth farther down its throat.
Sauropods were some of the biggest land animals to have ever existed. Sauropods were long-necked dinosaurs that walked on four legs. One of the largest sauropods was the Dreadnoughtus. The name means fears nothing. The Dreadnoughtus could reach lengths of 26 meters or 85 feet and weighing about 65 tons. What makes this dinosaur so special other than its size is the completeness of the skeleton that has been found. The Dreadnoughtus is currently the most complete sauropod ever found, with 70% of its skeleton being recovered. Unfortunately, a specimen with its skull has yet to be found, so any reconstructions of the head are still speculative. Today I want to talk about the time scientists did this dinosaur dirty. This is the Ioviraptor, and its name literally means egg thief. Why did it get this name? Well, when scientists discovered the remains of the Ioviraptor, it was found on a nest of eggs that they thought belonged to a protoceratops. Later, it was discovered that the eggs were actually Ioviraptor eggs. This means that this particular Ioviraptor was probably just brooding her nest and died protecting it. And for that, we call it a thief. If that's not disrespect, I don't know what is. This is the Carnotaurus. This horned devil-looking dino is aptly named the meat-eating bull. But what exactly did this meat-eating bull eat? Well, there are two opposing theories. The first is that it specialized in hunting smaller prey. This is because the Carnotaurus was exceptionally fast for a large theropod and may have had a weak but quick bite. Others question this theory, stating that its bite was actually twice as strong as that of the American alligator. And with its serrated teeth, it could inflict slashing wounds that would allow it to weaken and take down big prey like sauropods. If you want some quick facts about your favorite dinosaur, leave a comment and I might pick it. See you next time.
Leadsichthys was a gigantic fish that lived in the middle to late Jurassic. It is one of the largest fish to have ever existed. It likely ate plankton as a food source. It was first discovered by Alfred Nicholson Leeds. The remains of the Leadsichthys were first interpreted as Stegosaurus backplates. It was not until later that the remains were reinterpreted as the skull bones of a giant fish. Because the remains were so fragmented, they were difficult to recognize and interpret. Because of this, it was given the name Leadsichthys problematicus. Translated, the name would mean something like Leeds problematic fish. Dimorphodon is one of the earliest pterosaurs ever discovered. It had a wingspan of about 1.4 meters or 4.59 feet and lived during the early Jurassic period. It is often depicted in popular culture as a ferocious predator, but in reality, it is still unknown what its diet contained. Some suggest it was mostly insects, while others say its main food source is fish. A counter to this claim states that it is too large to have its main diet be insects and suggests it's more suited for small lizards and mammals. The one thing we can say is that it likely wasn't as ferocious as commonly shown. The discussion of whether or not dinosaurs had feathers has been a controversial topic. Until not too long ago, the consensus was that large carnivore dinosaurs likely didn't have body-covering feathers. This changed when a new dinosaur was discovered in 2012. A group of 3 nearly complete large theropod carnivores were found. Among the usual bone fossils were also the imprints of feathers. This dinosaur was given the name Iotirannus, meaning feathered tyrant. Although no direct evidence of feathers has been found on other large carnivores like tyrannosaurs, Iotirannus is proof that it is possible for large carnivores to have had feathers. In 1955, Francis Tully found a fossil of a strange creature. Paleontologists couldn't make heads or tails of it. Because it was unknown what sort of creature they were dealing with, it was simply given the name Tully Monster, meaning Tully's monster. Years later, we still haven't figured out what exactly the Tully Monster is. There are some who suggest it is an arthropod, while others claim it to be a relative of the lamprey. There are also some that suggest it might be a mollusk like sea slugs. What we do know is that it was about 35 centimeters or 14 inches in length and had a proboscis with a jaw-like structure at the end. It doesn't seem to have bone or chitin structures. The Tully Monster might be one of the strangest creatures we have ever found. Imagine looking for fossils and stumbling across this. What would you make of this? Maybe a strange type of ammonite. As it turns out, it was actually the jaw of an early shark-like animal called Helicoprion. If you are wondering how this jaw would fit a shark, you are not alone. There were many hypotheses on how this jaw structure would work. Some even played with the idea that it may not have been a jaw at all. The current accepted theory is that the jaw looked like this and was used to saw chunks out of its prey. The lack of wear on the teeth would suggest its primary prey were soft-bodied creatures like squids and mollusks. Dinonicus may be one of the most important dinosaurs that we currently know. It was relatively small and is a close relative of the Velociraptor. What makes this dinosaur so important was that it challenged the way we think about dinosaurs. Thanks to Dinonicus, we discovered that dinosaurs were likely warm-blooded, active and agile predators instead of slow, lumbering beasts. Dinonicus was also the first dinosaur where the similarities between dinosaurs and birds was observed, which led to the now commonly accepted theory that birds are descendants from dinosaurs. These discoveries gave us a whole new outlook on what prehistoric life was actually like and led to a new age of paleontology, commonly called the dinosaur renaissance.